Good morning, wonderful caregivers. Thank you for joining me and for joining us as we talk about Let's Talk Dementia, especially dementia. It's not a topic we always want to talk about unless you hang out with me, and I do it a lot. Thank you for being here. I want to thank our sponsors who help finance our ministry, National Association of Veterans and Families. You can find them at navf.org, and you can call them at 800-352-2919. Now, why do you want to do that? Good question. Well, if you're the veteran or the spouse of a veteran and you are seeking assistance, information, then you need to talk to them. If you go to the VA, you're going to lose your ever-loving mind. Oh, my word. Been there, done that. Don't ever want to do it again. But NAVF is there for you. Their motto is, we speak veteran, so you don't have to. 800-352-2919. Beth Crosby, wonderful editor. For whatever written product you might have, you need her eyeballs on it. You can find her at editorbeth.com, and then tell her Carol sent you. Would you do that? HD Imports, located on Flint Street Extension in Rock Hill, South Carolina. Wonderful mechanics for Honda, Hyundai, Acura, Toyota, and Kia. And you can reach them at 803-985-0985. If you got to drive a little distance to see them, just do it. They're well worth it. They will save you all kinds of money. And trustworthy, absolutely. We want to tell you about, or I want to tell you about, one of my Amazon best-selling books, Let's Talk Dementia. This book is easy to read. It's written on white paper. You can pick it up and start reading any point in it, and it'll make sense. Each chapter sort of stands alone, and you can find it on Amazon. And then our newest book is Reminisce and Worship, and those are my mama's hands on the front with her bling bling. She was the queen of bling bling, and it is a 30-day devotional geared towards that individual with dementia. They can work through this book by themselves, or if you're so inclined as the wonderful caregiver that you are, sit down and work through it with them. It gives you a wonderful time of worship, and you don't have to plan it. It's just right there for you. My sister and her husband are using that book for a 30-day devotional just between themselves. I thought that was kind of neat. I was honored that they are doing that. Well, speaking of books, I just want to take a minute and tell you this, and then I'll get on to the reason we're here today. See this book, The Blue Zone Solution, written by Dan Buettner. He's written several books, and he's got a recipe book coming out for Christmas. Hint, hint to all my friends who want to buy me a Christmas present. But the Blue Zone, there are 6 areas in the world that have been identified as blue zones, and it's those parts of the world where people live longer and live healthier, have much lower incidence of heart disease, and much lower incidence of dementia. So you know this is interesting me. Well, our company is in the process of becoming a recognized provider or whatever for the Blue Zone Project. So I got this book. A wonderful person in my neighborhood said I could have her copy. And in the back are recipes. So I kind of skipped ahead because I'm always known for reading the back copy, the back page before I read the front page. And the first recipe was lentil soup. Well, I don't like lentils. As I said to some friends earlier, lentils remind me of poop. And that's kind of nasty, but that's why I don't eat lentils. But I have some green lentils, and I decided to try this recipe. I made it exactly like the recipe tells you, but I added 1 tablespoon of chopped garlic. Girl child, this stuff made my house smell so blame good. It's the best soup I've ever made. My daughter came over yesterday afternoon when she got off work. She said, "What did you cook? It smells wonderful. Can I have a bite?" And I gave her a bite. She said, "Can I have a bowl?" I gave her a bowl. She said, "Can I have leftovers for lunch tomorrow?" I said, "Of course, that's why I made it, so I could share it with you. Gonna have it for our lunch today." Amazing. So good for you. So good for you. Everything in it. So I'm gonna post this recipe in the show notes. You'll see it in the show notes for this show. And if you're on Roku or what's that place called, Fire Stick, not entirely sure if it'll show up in those show notes or not, but it will be on our website, letstalkdementia.org. You can find it there. Y'all got to make that soup. Oh my. So what I wanted to talk to you today, and what I titled this was, He Walked Behind Her. So in the work that I do with folks who have dementia, I often sit down for repeated visits with folks that are traveling that journey that want one-on-one lessons on how to take care of their loved one. And we go through a set outline of topics that we cover. And I was working with this wonderful lady, and her daughter came, and we were talking about how to walk with your loved one with dementia. Now, you thought you just get up and move your feet, right? Well, you can do that, but there's a much safer way to walk with someone who's not using a walker. To keep them safe. And that's important. You don't want to be walking along and your loved one fall or face planting. That never comes out good. You know, the human skin does not look good with purple on it. But the way that we safely do it is you want to get on their dominant side. And for most people, it's the right side, unless you're my crazy husband and he's a lefty. Well, I can't fix that. So you want to get on their dominant side. You want to take the crook of your arm, right there where your arm bends, and get it in their armpit. Way up in their armpit. And then you bring your arm up. Now, what you have just done is made a very safe way for them to walk. So if you're just walking along kind of loose, if you realize they start to fall, this is your brake. You're going to pull your brake up and you're going to pull them back very quickly. Your other hand is holding their opposite hand. Okay, if you've got the crook of your arm in the armpit of their right arm, then your hand is holding their left hand. Now that left hand is being used as a steering wheel to help guide them. So instead of being, I don't know, kind of not so, well, just being blunt, going, okay, turn right, turn left, go forward, back up. You know, that's, I don't know, I think that makes them feel a little less than respected. You've got your brake, or you've got the brake off, you've got your brake on, whichever, and this is your steering wheel, and you're just gently pulling and guiding. They will pick up on that. It works. And if you just want to go forward, your movement will make them do that. But if you need them to turn, you're using that your hand against their opposite hand across their body to help lead them. So I was teaching this lady and her daughter that movement. We got up and I demonstrated, this is how it works. Now I want you to pretend to fall, and let me show you how I can pull you back up real quick. And you got to be quick. You got to be paying attention. And she said, that won't work with my husband. What you talking about? My plan won't work, girlfriend? Of course my plan works. She said, he wants to walk behind me. He wants to walk behind you. Why? I mean, certainly most men don't want to walk behind their woman. I don't know why, but they don't. I mean, we always walk side by side as married couple. And I mean, my word, they've been married a long time. It's what they'd always done. But now he wanted to walk behind her. Then we figured it out. He knew where he was going. He could walk behind her and knew exactly where he was going. He just followed her footsteps. Isn't that just, I don't know, it was sweet. It was touching to me. He trusted her for his safety. He trusted her to get him where he needed to be just by following her. Now, if he started to fall, she's not going to be there to help him for sure. But she still knew that he was there. He was not being degraded in any way as far as not knowing what he was doing or where he was going. He just followed her, and it was no big deal. People didn't think much about it. I thought that was really sweet. I don't know, somehow that just touched my heart, and I thought, I think it's just a good example of a good marriage, that this gentleman knew that his wife loved him enough to lead him where he needed to go. And I don't know, I like that. Wanted to share that with you. So if your loved one's wanting to walk behind you, that might be the reason. That might be the reason, because they feel safe back there. But be aware that as they become more wobbly, you know, weebles wobble, but they don't fall down. You remember weebles? My daughter had one, about that big. She carried it in her little fat hand. Well, wasn't fat. Nothing fat about her ever. She carried it in her tight little fist for, a couple years as a little bitty girl, and she'd lose it. We'd have to find it. Weebles wobble, but they don't fall down. Humans wobble, but they do fall down. So if your loved one is becoming wobbly, then you need to think about employing that brake and that arm that becomes the rudder, so to speak, in their travels. It's just an easy little technique, easy little concept. Well, tell me what's going on in your caregiving world. I talk about a lot of the emails that I get on our podcast, and you can find our podcast on our website and on Spotify, on iTunes, Podbean, iHeartRadio, and it's called Let's Talk Dementia. So you get a lot more good dementia education there, and guess what? It's free. Oh yes, it is. So, but write me and tell me what's going on in your world. I'm always happy to hear from you. Talked to a lady yesterday who was just planning today to go to the Veterans Administration and apply for aid and attendance. And that is the benefit that you can get if you are a veteran or the spouse of a veteran and you need help paying for assisted living. You had to have served at least one day during a time of war, and you may have been pushing a pencil in Kansas and never actually held a gun. Didn't make any difference, but the war was going on. You had to have a financial need for the care related to the being, the physical person of the veteran or the spouse of the veteran. So she was on her way today to the VA to do that. I said, oh, honey, child, do not do that. Do not go to the VA and do that. You will never, ever get approved for the benefit. You want to go to National Association of Veterans and Families. And that's why I am happy to advertise for these folks. They are amazing. So I thank them for being a sponsor. If you are in need of benefits or you have questions about veterans benefits, well, yeah, those are the folks you need to talk to. 1-800-352-2919. Tell them Carol sent you. And Beth Crosby, she is the editor that I use, and she keeps me on the straight and narrow with all my commas and colons and where to put the period inside of a quote mark. That's going to drive me crazy. But Beth knows this stuff, and you can find her at editorbeth.com. HD Imports, located at Flint Street Extension in Rock Hill. Repair and maintenance of your Honda, Hyundai, Toyota, Kia, and Acura. Well, that's what's on my mind today. I don't ever want to keep you long, so I keep you coming back. Tomorrow, geez, I looked it up and I already forgot what it is we're going to talk about. Oh, I remember. Life can be so contradictory. Isn't that the truth? Life on a normal day when you're not dealing with dementia is contradictory. You throw dementia in that pot and stir briskly, it's going to be contradictory, but we're going to talk about that tomorrow. Thank you for joining me. Thank you wherever you are for tuning in. I hope you continue to do that. Write me at carol@letstalkdementia.org. Smile while the world smiles with you. My mama used to say, cry and you cry alone. So we want to smile and be thankful. It's a beautiful day. Make it a good one. Blessings and smiles. Bye-bye.